Welcome back, James.
Thank you for having me.
So just to get started, California, we've had an interesting week.
We always do.
A celebrity of ours, P. Diddy, recently had his house raided in Los Angeles and in Miami. But I wanted to read his story and just the overall from Yahoo News. Federal agents raided the rapper's multi-million-dollar home in Miami and in Los Angeles on March 25th. Sources with knowledge told NBC News March 26 that firearms were found at both properties. Additional Homeland Security investigation seizes Combs' phones in Miami before he was scheduled to depart for the trip to Bahamas. While the investigation is still ongoing, a source close to the investigation told NBC News that the raid was connected to allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms to three women and one man. 3 women and 1 man have been interviewed by federal officials in Manhattan in relation to the investigation, the source shared. So craziness happening with P. Diddy, and I was reading all through Twitter and going through social media, just the takes on this. And I mean, it's Illuminati to the cabals to every conspiracy theory in the world, and I always say I'm agnostic when it comes to conspiracy. It could be. I need to see like just more,
Proof.
God, the proof. Who is the mastermind? They never find the mastermind of any conspiracy theory. It doesn't seem like they do, or at least. But to me, it just seems like he could just be a bad guy. I don't know. It seems like something's happening. But what's your take? What's happening here?
I mean, I feel like every week we get some LA, either actor, influencer, some person ends up doing something crazy. P. Diddy, I guess, those are some pretty terrible allegations. And if they're true, he deserves to go down. But when it comes to the Illuminati, big mastermind project behind it where there's this underground network, I'm sure there's some kind of connections. There's still kind of some boys and girls clubs in the, in Hollywood and in that kind of scene of the ultra rich and the famous. But I think he's just a bad guy.
So you believe though that there is some underground, there is some stuff, some nefarious.
I'm sure they talk. I mean, it's like almost talking to people, your coworkers, at least people with actors and actresses. But at the same time, it's like I probably agree with you. I'm a little more agnostic. It could be something, but I would take it case by case.
Yeah.
This case, I think he's a bad guy. He does bad things. It's probably what it just is. If you find some connection, Tupac's alive in Cuba, and that's why he's going to the Bahamas. He's going to make a trip to Cuba after. No, I mean that's not. But you don't. I would say just take it case by case and let the bad guys, get what they deserve.
Okay. I think the biggest conspiracy theory with all is that there seems to be someone that's blind eyeing, and that's where you can draw is like, okay, why are they sweeping this under the rug? Like a Harvey Weinstein situation. I mean, he was around in Hollywood for how long, doing what he was doing. And there's a lot of people that just kind of looked away, and same thing there's no way that Diddy has been, I remember growing up with the P. Diddy parties, all the parties, and you'd see the things about people partying with, there's no way no one has known that his behavior is kind of out of control.
Yeah, I think 50 Cent actually had a lot to say about him. But, I think that's one of the things where it's their public life and their private life can be so completely separate. I mean, these guys have literal teams of PR that make sure people don't know anything about them and only what they want to have heard, And, what comes with popularity, fame, and money is you have the ability to create and cater an image.
Yeah.
And you have money to buy people's silence.
Well, in Hollywood, California, I think they've made the name to the game for that one, for sure.
Absolutely. They're the experts at it.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to our next one, another always California stories. But to me, this one seems a very California story. Of course, this happened, especially in Los Angeles. Homeless man eats man's leg. So let me read the actual headline here. Actual headline is California man is arrested after eating a severed human leg in broad daylight.
As you should be.
Footage of a man gnawing on a severed human leg on the side of a busy street in broad daylight shocked the nation this week, shocked the state of California too, I should say, drawing speculation that the national drug crisis is to blame. So they're leaning towards drug. I actually was reading that drugs in general, some of the mixtures of drugs is getting out of control. Video taken in Wasco. Oh, he's not. I thought it was Los Angeles. Wasco. Where's that at? California. Shows 27-year-old Rosendine Tell.
He was 27?
27-year-old. That man looked like an old man. Rosendo Tellez picking up a leg, seemingly biting it, and then waving it around the sidewalk before police arrived.
That's terrible.
Full arrest details have not been made available, but the internet is ablaze with theories. Drugs, it seems like the age-old here, but we're getting now, the drugs are getting so strong now that you're turning into cannibals. It's kind of crazy. And of course, here in California, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Cannibalism will start here in California. I'm saying it now.
I don't need a national trend of cannibalism. I think it's really just kind of a glaring image and example of how poor, and how terrible the mental health crisis and drug problem is across the nation, but especially in California. I mean, you have to be incredibly crazy to be a cannibal, broad daylight walking around. I mean, that's just sick. It's completely sick. And you gotta either have had serious mental issues on top of drug use. There's guarantee a combination there. I put my all my net worth, family, everything, on that. I mean, it's a bad sign, and that's happening. That's beyond normal. People like to, I guess, a lot of crimes, homelessness, drug use has become so normalized in California, but a severed leg and then eating it and in broad daylight, that's insane. That's so beyond. That's abhorrent, and that should be a real image for reform. Like, that's what's happening in California. That's impossible. Like, imagine you told someone that 15 years ago, 20 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, someone takes a time machine, they come back in the future, and they're like,
well, they're eating legs on the street. What, did a nuclear war happen?
I think of the Mad Max in the 80s, they're like, no way, that, this is just a movie. And then they come here and they're like, no, this is Mad Max.
Yeah, it's the only way I would be able to comprehend that. It's like, oh, so 20 years from now, there was like a nuclear war and California got destroyed and some guy's eating someone else's leg.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way. I mean, who took over? What went wrong? No, it's just mental health and drugs.
Well, I hope and pray that this is a rare story, but
absolutely,
just the crime in general in California is just crazy. I mean, you see stuff like this, and the homeless. There's always a new homeless story. There's always a homeless. I suspect this guy will probably be a homeless person, but you kind of touched on it too, is mental health. I mean, we just passed Prop 1, and we said that we're going to be tracking Prop 1 last time we talked. So
yeah,
we'll track and see, it hasn't kicked in yet, but if cannibalism goes up, I don't know if Prop 1 is working.
Yeah, I don't know if Prop 1 had any cannibalism in their in the documents. I guess I hope it reduces the amount of cannibalism. I think that should be a number one priority of the state of California.
Yeah, I was looking at Prop 1. So $13 million were put in for the yes for Prop 1. $1,000 was put in for the no of Prop 1. And it was so, and it only came very close, which is crazy. But what's also crazy is that they didn't even put, so in the ballot, you put reason why. What's your argument for yes? Mm-hmm. What's your argument for no? The people that file it didn't even put a reason for no, right? They didn't even put it. So it speaks to that. But now I'm thinking, maybe they someone should have put in there, put more money and you'll get cannibalism. I don't know.
Seriously.
So we'll see. But, speaking on a larger issue here in California, crime is just out of control. Here's a story that came up recently, and it kind of goes to, the Institute, and what we do is working on college campuses. But supposedly here, I'm going to read the story so I don't get any of it wrong. But gist of it is that a group basically hired security for their kids at Berkeley to after recent attacks and recent things going on, uh, we'll put the link in there, but University of Berkeley, California has reportedly hired private security for their children. Oh, parents. Okay, sorry. Let's start from the parents of students at the University of California, Berkeley have reportedly hired private security for their children, prompting consideration from school. I'm sorry, prompting consternation from school officials. According to the report in the Los Angeles Times, the program Safe Bears acted as an unarmed security for the students for a 17-day period through their ambassadors on foot and on bicycle, did not coordinate though with campus police. Safe Bears, which ended on Saturday, paid 6 guards a total of $42,000 to patrol at night near student housing and South Campus in response to an increase in some types of crimes, including property crimes and Times reported. The Times reported. So basically, property crimes, they are hiring private security. I'm not that surprised. Probably Berkeley, the area is probably safer than some areas, I think, I don't know.
The Bay Area, yeah.
But I'm not surprised, that they're doing it. The crime is so bad. It seems like people in Berkeley might want to change the way that they think about things, maybe in general about voting but we'll see.
They won't.
What's your thoughts?
They won't change the way. I mean, you got to think about it. Students are very vulnerable. Younger people with lots of technology, laptops. And their cars are on campus, or half the time they're in school, so their homes are easy to be raided. I mean, it's just the epitome of kind of the class kind of dispersion we have, and it's like, okay, these rich people who go to University of California, Berkeley, they get to hire security for their kids when the police aren't doing their job, campus police isn't doing their job, the California government isn't doing their job prosecuting criminals. But they'll be okay. Their kids will be okay. Their stuff will be okay. If you're rich, you buy your kid another laptop. Their laptop gets stolen. Oh, they're getting, they're scared of walking home at night from campus. Hire them some security. Then these are the same people who vote for stuff like defund the police. These are the same people who vote for, less, like no bail. Like bail with no money for people to get back out on the streets, criminals. What we see is these people don't have to follow the same consequences. People who can't afford, the average person, the below, like the people who who really need help from the police, they're not getting the help. The police aren't there. They don't have the resources. These same people, they have to suffer, while the rich people can just hire security. And I think we'll see probably an uptick of that in California. There's certain neighborhoods that have the same thing. They have their own private security because there's crime going around their city, but they don't want it in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
But these are the same people who vote to defund the police.
Mm-hmm.
They say the police are doing bad things. All right, get rid of the police. All right, don't sentence people. Now you got more crime, and the people who hurt are the people who can't afford it the most. And I think UC Berkeley, these people hiring private security is the biggest indicator of that.
Well, and just going beyond that, I mean, there was just this week, there was this story that came out this week. A lady in Chinatown was stabbed, just an innocent woman. I saw that story. We linked that in there. And just here in Orange County, some, thousands of dollars worth of cosmetics were stolen. It's just that, to me, I always was told this, sometimes it takes rock bottom, and maybe I always say that, but maybe it does. And even in San Francisco, they've had to change their rules. They've had to reverse things. They had some propositions to make crime a little bit tougher, give, I think, more support to the police. They've had to reverse things. And what it took was basically rock bottom, and San Francisco being just one of the worst places, poop all over the place. Poop city, and maybe that's what it takes.
It's sad that's what it takes. Is because people are going to be hurting. Families going to be hurting. There's going to be loss of life, loss of property. People work hard for what they have, and see people just getting away with stealing. Petty theft is on the rise across the nation, but especially in California, and it's just unfair to those who work hard. It's unfair to people who really, really put in the effort to be better citizens, just to have people take advantage of the system. when it takes rock bottom, I know we like to focus on California, but if you look at pre-Rudy Giuliani, New York City, it was terrible. And he was extremely tough on crime there. Um, and, some people have some things to say about his methods, but the city got cleaned up. The city got completely cleaned up, and they basically reversed so much of that in New York. And if you go on TikTok recently, there was this trend of girls getting punched in the face.
Oh yeah.
It was just, oh, I just got punched in the face in New York. It's like, oh, I got punched in the face too. It's like, what happens? You can't defend yourself there. There's no police there. Like, you can't even have pepper spray in New York City. And now what you call the cops, if they find the guy a week or two later, then they'll just arrest him, and then he gets out with no bail. He gets to go back on the street for another month or so until he gets a court hearing, and then he gets a court hearing, and they'll probably give him, 10 hours community service, and then he'll go back right to punch people in the face.
Yeah.
And that is not rock bottom. Is a guy eating a severed leg on the streets of California not rock bottom? Or people in Irvine of all places, that's supposed to be the safest city in the world. Yeah. They're just stealing $1,000 worth of cosmetics. It's just sad. It's sad that that's not rock bottom. That doesn't motivate people to vote differently. That doesn't motivate people to get out. Conflicts or stuff like that don't affect people or don't the local government can't do anything about. They'll complain about. But when real serious crime and injustice is happening in local communities statewide, you just don't see any uproar.
So just talking about policies that, that I hope that don't spread across the country. It seemed like, especially here in California, Legoland just announced that it's going to do some surge pricing. There was, not even that long ago, Wendy's, got caught in a whole big old deal. They actually had to walk it back because so many people were complaining that what you're going to charge me more for a hamburger at a different time or fries at a different time is going to cost, fluctuate throughout the day. It kind of threw people off. What's your thoughts on surge pricing?
I think the trend's going to continue, sadly, with different companies in not only California but across the country. I hate the idea of surge pricing, especially when it comes to everyday products. For me, it's the definition of price discrimination. If you, it's wrong, for someone to come in and say like, a girl going into a mechanic shop versus a guy, and the same amount of work costs $1,000, but because it's a girl, they're charging $5,000. That's wrong. Someone, maybe they're a little bit hungry right now, so they want to have a cheeseburger more, but they can only come in at 2:00, but other people come in at 2:00. So now the price went from, I don't know, $5 for a Big Mac to $10. That's wrong. That's discrimination. And there are usually laws to protect against that. You can't charge people different prices based on their gender, based on the color of their skin, based on a lot of different things, no matter how, even if someone will pay more.
Do you think that would be an argument, time discrimination?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so, because not everyone has the same schedule, not everyone has the same life. You can't do that, but these companies are testing the waters like, this government, so this leftist government's so scared of the corporations that give them so much money that they're not going to, they'll get more money and they'll give us more money to our campaigns. There's no, I don't see a bright future with this current trend with price discrimination. I think it's going to continue if the government doesn't stop it. I'm usually in favor of less government regulations, but when it comes to this new world of data, where these corporations have so much data over us, like imagine you're if you're on the internet, and the internet company has decided, a lot of people are watching Netflix today. Let's make the internet cost more today. You charge a flat fee. You have these services. Again, over time, you as a company, you can demand whatever price. I'm all for free markets, but when it comes to individual price discrimination, I'm not in favor of that at all. Even though I'm very much a free market guy, I think that's wrong.
Well, I think you kind of semi-speak on that. I think corporations kind of feel like consumers won't be upset by this, that the average person will just accept it. They're just going to take it down, and they're going to take whatever price, and that, our Big Mac is so good. No discrimination. We should throw in some. I think it was Wendy's that did this. McDonald's didn't do this, by the way. But, I think it's that our product is, they're just going to take it no matter what.
Yeah, or you're already there. You're like, all right, I guess I'm here and I'm hungry.
Like they're almost like forcing you, and so I think there probably has to be some rules set. Probably, I don't know exactly what this, But I want to say, I think my only differentiation from yours is that I think we as the people of California need to go up and stand against and say, hey, we're not going to buy the tickets then.
Yeah, but
we need to say I kind of think the consumer needs to do a little bit of
I would, but that's the problem with right now. Today, we're not in quite a free market, and there's not these options anymore. If a company started overcharging you for burgers, you go to a different burger place. But now, if all of these companies, Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, they all team up, they all do it. Now you only have so many options, and now even those smaller options, they'll have even more people coming in, and now it'll be even harder to eat there. So now it's like there's so many barriers to entry, especially with this. California is such a business unfriendly state, trying to open up a burger place. If you've tried to start a business here, let alone a restaurant business, you'll know the million different things. You get everything set up, finally get all the logistics, out of the advertising, then all of a sudden, the building says the fryer needs to be actually 5 feet away from this grill, not 4 feet. And now you basically have to delay your open and every single cost and everything. And these companies get the scale. You don't get that. So now there's no break-in, there's no consumer alternative. And so now guess I'll pay $20 for my burger and fries today. I mean, that's, again, without inflation. I mean, things have been going up, but that's the sad reality of it, is they can do it because they're getting a monopoly on it, because the current government's allowing that.
Well, allowing it, and somewhat, and you could say even the anti-government is that they're almost forcing, they tighten what you just said to make business so hard here that some of these guys. Corporations are greedy, business, a lot of people are greedy. And so they're going to try to figure out which way to make the most buck, to make the most amount of money possible. And so, surge pricing, and so I think you're right, is that it's like there needs to be some government intervention, but there needs to be fair regulations in general for businesses.
Absolutely.
And, I'm not saying free for all. I actually don't agree for free for all, but I do agree that the regulations that we currently have are no good. They're creating what you said, that pushing them into monopoly and pushing them, into this world that we're seeing right now. And it's not good for the state of California. Agree. It's not good for, I think, the country.
It's not good for the country. It's not good for the average citizen and consumer. Only people it serves is the corporations. And, again, if you provide a valuable product, I believe you should be able to charge whatever you want. But when you basically have regulations that basically cut out any alternative to your product, then of course you're going to be able to get away with surge price and get away with whatever you want. You need to have alternatives, but today's policies don't allow for alternatives anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I haven't been to Disneyland yet since I've been here in Orange County. I remember just Texas growing up, going to Six Flags, and that was a big deal. But let me just say this. Don't go after Legoland, damn it. Leave Legoland alone. Keep it the way it is.
Yeah.
James, thank you so much for coming today.
Happy to be here.
I have a feeling we'll see each other a lot more.
Sounds good.
Sweet.